All right, so what is going on, guys? I'm going to start doing a little introduction to Java. So, recently, why I want to do this is well, one, I'm trying to get views. Two, I think it's really interesting, and also, I am now majoring in computer science. I recently transitioned from biomedical engineering into computer science or computer engineering or computer or software engineering. I'm not really sure which path I want to go to, but I know I want to go into maybe doing some machine learning or try to get into artificial intelligence or data mining or data science, whichever one's how you want to call it. So, I mean, I'm fairly fresh to the scene on programming, but in terms of actually taking courses and all, I actually started programming well about 3 years ago. So I mean, I'm not too shabby. So yeah, like right now, like my intro course, it's a breeze right now. And but yeah, so I mean, let's jump into the video. So I want to talk about what an IDE is, what Java, the programming language itself, is, and also I want to just give you an idea of what programming is because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions within people who are skeptical or feel like it's too difficult. But I'm not saying that programming is for everyone. I'm saying that programming is just, I feel, a little bit misunderstood. And if you like it, maybe you might see my video and you'll like it, but who knows? So, like I was saying, we're going to be going over the IDE. We're going to be going over Java, the programming language it is, so you can run your programs on your laptop. Right now, I'm going to be using the IDE NetBeans. You're not limited to just using NetBeans. You can, of course, use other IDEs such as, and we're going to see what really is a programming language. And then we're going to jump into necessarily what is programming in order to grab a better conceptual understanding about the subject. And then from there, I'll probably introduce you to a couple things, but we'll just take the video from there. All right, so let's get into NetBeans. I'm going to be using my IDE. IDE. Ooh, I should have probably looked it up before I did. Just kidding. For those of you who do not know what an IDE is, I'll just explain it right now. So let's open up a new tab and let's do IDE definition. Okay. And I spelled it wrong. IDE definition. Okay, so it's giving me apparently chemistry, which I'm quite knowledgeable about. We're going to have an integrated development environment, and your IDE is basically going to be your workstation. So if you're an electrician, no, that's a bad example. Let me give you. Okay, so if you're a musician, your instrument is your workstation. In order to produce music, you have to play an instrument. You can play the piano, you can play the guitar, you can play the flute, you can do whatever you want. But that is going to be your workstation where you create content, create music, practice music, and do other stuff. So in programming, we're going to be using an integrated development environment. And an integrated development environment is basically a tool. It's going to be a tool. We're going to type our code in, our code being in the language of Java, or there's also Python, C, C++. I think there's Python R. The MATLAB programming language itself. There's different programming languages. But basically, in this IDE, we're going to be taking our code, the language, we're going to speak into the language of the computer. Because, okay, well, that's a little bit confusing. So a computer only understands ones and zeros, ones and zeros. Think of it as a light switch, on and off, on and off. That's really hard for the common Joe to do. Very inefficient, just a lot of ones and zeros, but so what the programming language does, it conveys what we want it to do into, we're basically giving it instructions in a way that we can understand and the computer can understand. So really smart people came together, create languages, and that's what we have, the programming languages themselves. So back to the NetBeans IDE. What we're going to be using NetBeans is going to be our workstation in order to compile our Java code. We can, of course, compile through the command line, but we're not into that yet. I could show you, but here we have different IDEs like Eclipse. I've never used IntelliJ. I don't even know if this is one. Visual Studios, I believe it does support. But for the most part, I think NetBeans is quite friendly. So we're gonna go into NetBeans, click on the NetBeans IDE download, and we're gonna go for Java SE. So you're just gonna hit download. Once you hit download, it's gonna give you a downloader, and it's gonna instruct you. Just agree with it. It's probably gonna say that you need Java. Just keep going on to it until you have it installed. And your end product, I'll show you. My icon, or I dragged it on the screen. It's going to be like a little blocks thing. I'm on 2 monitors right now, so I just dragged it from my dock. And also something to note, I am a Mac user right now, so if you have Windows, Linux, this should be relatively the same. But just a little heads up, if you're confused along the way, if I use like my file, I doubt it, but or when saving files, I believe it's going to be different. But for the most part, it's going to be the same. So once you have this downloaded, I'm going to pull it up already. Something to note before we get into the whole aspect of this. Mine's black. I changed it that way. You can look into how to change it, but other than that, everything's going to be the same. We're going to be running the same NetBeans, except my version is a little bit outdated. But for the most part, it's going to be okay. Next, we're going to want to do is go into Java downloads, and we're going to want to download Java, the latest version of Java for you. And so, of course, just go into your operating systems. If you have Windows, you have Mac OS, or you have Linux. I don't even know what this is, Solaris, but just basically follow instructions. See, it's just after installing Java, you may need to restart your browser in order to enable Java in your browser. So just simply click download, follow the instructions, and enter your password if you have to. And after that, you're going to be set up. And let me explain to you why we need to download Java. We need to download Java in order for our computer to understand what we're telling it. It's the same reason why I'll explain. Well, I'll explain it right now. Let me pull up a Java file, or actually, no, let me just say. So basically, when we're saving our Java files and when we want to compile them, we're going to have a name like, something like that, random. We're going to have dot, and then we're going to have .java. Necessarily, this is a small portion of the .java. We're letting the computer know that we're going to be using the language Java in order. This is our way to communicate with the computer. We're letting the computer know that we're going to talk to it in Java. So once you have downloaded Java and you've downloaded your IDE, NetBeans, or the IDE you want to use, for this video I'm going to be using NetBeans because I believe it's very friendly, and we also use it in on campus for the introductory courses of programming. They might use Python, but we're going to be using Java because I think Java is a little bit difficult in a way to grasp. But I feel like if you understand Java, you'll understand much more. Like you'll have C, C++, but in time. So once you have everything downloaded, we're going to want to open up our NetBeans IDE. And now this is the fun stuff. I'll explain more about the IDE here. So in order to start a project, and when I say project, don't think of it like, like you're going to make crazy software, you're going to invent Google, no, we're just going to create a Word document. Think of it like that. We're going to create a Word document and we're just going to write stuff down. So we're going to create our project here. It's going to be a little box, a yellow box with a plus sign. We're going to want to hit Java, for our purposes, Java application. Do not worry about libraries and a project with existing source code free from project. No, we're going to keep it simple with the Java application, and we're going to want to create a project name. So our project name, we're going to just call it, I'll do it, I'm going to do Java program. I suck at programming. You know what? We'll just call it test 1. We'll just call it test 1. And so here at create main class, you're going to want to delete everything after the point test 1. We're just going to delete it. Let me explain to this right now. So this may be a lot to handle, but I feel like it's best to try to understand this now than later. The computer, when you open up your file finder, you have folders, and then inside this folder contains another folder, and then that folder contains another folder. So this is pretty much what it is when you're managing your application in Java. An application doesn't mean it's a literal application. It just means it's your own personal workspace. And we have projects contain classes, and then classes hold methods, and then methods hold code. But for our purposes, okay, you know what, that does sound really confusing. So scratch that, but do understand that for the purposes of right now, we are not going to be using main class. Other random classes. So we're just going to want to start off with, our project name. And we're just going to hit finish. So creating our new project. And here we are. Okay, so now that we have everything set up, we have a basic understanding of what the IDE is, which is the workshop. We have now also installed the workshop, netbeans, and we have our tool, Java. Well, I guess they're both tools, but we're pretty much set. And now from here, I want to make sure you understand programming, in a sense, is more so problem solving. You're gonna solve this problem using a computer. Yeah, you can create games, web apps, mobile apps, software. There's no telling what you can do, but I want to emphasize this point because when I went in, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be like hacker man, crazy man, like crazy, all this, type, and looking at it now, that's not really the reality. It's more so what you can bring into the world with what you learn and apply it. Well, I guess that is sort of everything, but that's it for this video. Next video, I'm going to be talking about, I guess my new step is I want to do instead of doing the traditional hello world, blah, 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 mumbo jumbo, I want to jump right into characters, strings, booleans, actually not booleans, or actually, yeah, booleans, and integers, doubles, floats. And then from there, once we have the basis of that, we're going to move into conditionals. From conditionals, we're going to move into input in order to tie in direct, I guess, user input, and then apply that with, the character types, integers, doubles, and all that. And then from there, we're going to use that, apply it to loops, for loops, while loops. And then we're going to be showing you how to, of course, save your file, compile your file, test your code, debug your code, basic syntax. NetBeans does a pretty good job at, keeping to the syntax well. Excuse me. And we'll also be looking into, I guess, a little bit of other topics such as the exceptionals we're going to be doing, and I'm rambling at this point. So basically, yeah, like and subscribe, and we'll get into the next video, and we're going to start programming. So yeah, thanks and bye.